seminar. So Bhavyata Foundation, it is basically a not-for-profit organization that takes on projects involving social development, livelihoods, and holistic education from initiation to conclusion. So our main focus is the empowerment of urban underprivileged and the upliftment of the rural masses. So in total, we have 6 initiatives in Bhavyata. So the first initiative is the Hunger Free Nation. So basically, Hunger Free Nation, it aims at healthy and nutritious meals to malnourished children. That is that 125 children from the neighboring Majivada slums. We provide meals to them. And also the second one is Project Sankalp or Santosh, where we rehabilitate the drug addicts. Until now, we have actually rehabilitated 40 drug addicts. So our second initiative is School of Sustenance. So School of Sustenance basically has 3 sub-programs or maybe 3 campaigns under it. So the first one is the Green School program, where it is an environment management system that audits through students and also consumption of natural resources within school campuses. And it also helps school to become good environmental managers. The second one is Vriksharopan, where we actually plant trees in different rural locations so that we can help in the upliftment of the rural livelihood. The third one is Krida Yog, where it is a wellness program for school students to improve focus and also for their sports participation. The third initiative is sowing the seeds. Under sowing the seeds, we have Sambardhan, where we preserve the Dangi breeds in the neighboring villages of Murbad, that is in Thane. And the second one is rice harvesting, and the third one is cow convention. Then the fourth initiative is Lessons for Life, where we conduct field trips, we conduct seminars, workshops, and all for people. And under that, our main project is the project Balwadi, where Bhavyata Foundation, with its team of expert educators, have adopted 3 preschools in under which 125 children have been provided daily meals, and they have also been taught under this initiative. So our fifth initiative is Bridge for Artisans. So under Bridge for Artisans, we are trying to forge a bridge between the rural talented artisans and the urban market. So under this, we have different things like Venu, Vastra, Dhatu, Krida Kirti, Shrishti Saundarya, where the bamboo artisans or the artisans of the rural villages, we try and help them to connect with the urban market. And our last sixth initiative is India First, under which we have Project Dharohar, and where we promote the Indian culture and heritage. And we have also been did the trips to Mattur, Sanskrit speaking village, treks to Maharashtra, treks to educational tours to UNESCO and all. And under that, we also have Veer Gatha, where we honor the martyrs of Indian nation by building an educational narrative of the schools. So these are our social media links where you can reach out to us. And if you like this seminar, you can also post a review on the Google page of Bhavyata Foundation. So basically, we are on Instagram, Twitter, and all the social media that is displayed on your page right now. So now I would like to speak about our speaker, the Sandeep ji. Sandeep ji, yes, Sandeep ji. So our speaker for today is Sandeep ji, who is the founder of Nimit, that aims to revive and spread the value of Indian culture in the minds of young India. So he's an independent researcher on Indian history and keeps a close watch on geopolitics. He was also a student of Bhagavad Gita, and he partners with a real estate company named Shri Developers.
Thank you, Prima. First of all, I would like to thank Bhavyata Foundation for all their wonderful initiatives and arranging the 6 sessions over the period of 1 month. So thanks to the team of Bhavyata Foundation. To start with, and again, and also to start, also thanks to all the audience who have been patiently waiting for the session to start. So Bharat Gatha, History, Heroes and Heritage of India. So we would be taking these sessions over next 6 weekends. So the idea behind this whole concept is we would be covering the timeline of 1,500 years of Indian history. Because unfortunately, in our school textbooks, the glories and the victories of our ancestors have been systematically sort of erased and buried. first by the British colonial historian and post-independence the leftist historians. Definitely, there is an agenda to it, which we will discuss later. Like we might not have heard of Battle of Barrage. We might not heard of lot of glories of Maratha Subedas. And so Bharat Gatha, history, heroes, and heritage of India. So the idea behind this is we would be covering from the period 634. So Bharat Gatha, history, heroes, and heritage of India. So basically, for the next 6 sessions, we would be covering a timeline of period of from 634 till 2020, various turning points in Indian history, and the victorious part of Indian history, which systematically have been eliminated from our history textbooks. That would be the main theme. So today's theme is today we will be covering from period of 634 till 12th century, and after that next session would be on the rise and fall of Vijayanagar Empire, and after that we would have a very interesting topic. We will be taking a very interesting time period in Indian history, that is some period of 1530 till 1565, and we will be covering a very important and a very and an unsung hero god named Vikramaditya Hemchandra and his glories. And post that, we will go and we will go deep into Maratha history. And many people do not know that East India Company took over India not from Mughals, but from of history. But the understanding regarding Indian history of in minds of many people is we have been losers and we have been just losing to invaders. So let's start from for today's timeline is from period 634. This was the year Muhammad Prophet died, and after that, Islamic invasion started their imperial run across the world, from Mesopotamia to Persia, that is modern day Iran and Iraq. And within 8 years flat, most of the Central Asia was under their control, and the Caliphate was trying to enter into Indian borders since 638. But they got success only after They got success only after 70 years. That is when Muhammad bin Qasim sort of entered sin. Next slide, please. So before going into the history part, I would like to read out few quotes on history. A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like the tree without root. Marcus Garvey. One of the most important things of Gaudiya Sampradaya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, says this about history. History and knowledge of the time are part of Arthashastra literature that gives material prosperity. If the people of India discuss history and time with reason and argument, they will be greatly benefited. By this process, they can also make spiritual advancement by mixing the waves of reasoning in the river of ancient reliefs. Moss in the form of illusion will be destroyed, and in due course of time, when the bad smell of infamy is removed, the knowledge of the residents of India will become healthy. So here we are seeing even saintly person like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, so much of emphasis on history. He has made so much emphasis on knowing the true history, because history is a very important subject. Because if we see first the Britishers, the colonial forces, they used the wrong sense of history in creating fault lines in creating fault lines within the Indian society, and that is how they were able to rule. And unfortunately, post 1947, the same colonized version of history has been used by the following parties which came into power. And when I talk about fault lines, what are these fault lines? If you see, for example, Maharashtra, there has been fault line regarding Ambedkar, Ambedkar right, Brahmin, and all these Marathas. These fault lines, if you see, they have the roots of few hundred years or 200 years back, and this was very systematically planted by the colonial power. So to understand the true sense of history, that is very much important. So throughout these 6 sessions, the idea is to cover 1,500 years of Indian history, which was systematically buried by the colonial powers, and lot of glories of unsung heroes we would be revealing. So let's begin from the timeline of 634, as I told earlier. Next slide, please. As I told earlier, in 634, Muhammad Prophet died, and after within 80 years, the Islamic imperial power they covered most of Central Asia from Persia to Mesopotamia, modern day Iran and Iraq. But they took almost 70 years to reach Indian subcontinent. The same area, the first invasion took place in 712. Next slide, please. So Maharaj Dahir was the last Hindu ruler of Sindh area, which is now in Pakistan. So Maharaj Dahir, before he went and he fought Muhammad bin Qasim and his army of Caliphate, he wrote a very interesting letter. If I die in battle fighting these invaders, it would be if I die fighting these invaders, it would be a glorious death, and I would go into heaven. And if I win, I will protect the heartland of my country from these Muslim invaders. But unfortunately, what has happened, I don't know how many people are aware of. I think many people who would be even present in this seminar, they would be hearing his name for the first time. So even though he lost the battle, but he fought relentlessly. That. Next slide, please. So after Maharaj Dahir, it was the Rai dynasty which took on the invaders. That is again 712 AD. Next. So 712, even though Maharaj Dahir lost, Bappa Rawal reclaimed all those lost land from the invaders within a period of 2 decades. And along with Bappa Rawal, there was one more important person who played a very significant role, and his name was Maharishi Deval. So here we are seeing a very interesting thing: Kshatriya and a Brahmin. Kshatriya and a Brahmin, they both are reviving the society, one by sword, another by his spiritual knowledge. Bappa Rawal not only defeated the invaders, but he even he even conquered a lot of their land. So that is very important to know. And Maharaj Deval's role is so important because within a period of 40, 50 years, a lot of people got converted into Islam. And even at that point of time, our scriptures were very rigid regarding reconversion. But he understood the importance of demography even at that point of time, and he reconverted all those people who got converted into Islam, and he made a specific code, spiritual code, and he got them back into Hinduism. So Bappa Rawal and Maharishi Deval. So here we are saying a Kshatriya and a Brahman both are working together in protecting the land. So always it is the role of the politician as well as the intellectuals to protect the land. The politicians by the political will and empowering the army on the fronts, and intellectuals by protecting the narratives and various narratives. Because once the narratives are poisoned, a civilization is broken. The invaders understood it very well. So that is why we might not have heard of many of our unsung heroes, but we know a lot of stories about the wars which we lost, but we might not have heard of the wars which won. One of the important wars which we won was Battle of Barrage, which we will say later. Next slide, please.
Okay, yeah, so sir, one of them were asking, like Krishna ji were asking the name of the king, the name of Brahmin over here. So
Maharishi Deval. Next slide.
Okay, yeah.
Maharishi
Thank
Deval.
you.
Next slide. But present time also, it is not only if you see lot of noise on social media कि मोदी जी को ये करना चाहिए था, मोदी जी वो करना चाहिए था, and many things which are quoted on social media. At the same time, we also need to understand the politicians are reflection of mood of the society. So once the society changes, the policy, then everything changes. So the role of intellectuals should be to unravel the truth from the history and broadcast it across the world. Because of because if our civilization has to reach its full potential and reclaim it back, a true narrative of history is very important. So the partnership between a Brahmana and a Kshatriya. So it's not a Kshatriya. When I speak about Brahmana, it's not like what left speak about a Brahmana. Brahmana in today's term would be an intellectual who is living a dharmic life and who is presenting Vedic ethos in a true sense. So that is what I mean by Brahmana, not the leftist understanding. So, Battle of Barrage, I would like to touch upon this battle and go in bit of detail of this. Unfortunately, there is no mention of this battle in our history textbooks. We might have seen a lot of things about we might have read a lot of things about Mughals and how they conquered and many things. But this is one of the glorious battles which we won. This happened in June 13, 1033 AD. And the interesting thing about this battle was, at that point of time, the Islamic imperial forces were at the zenith of their power. And Masood Ghazni, the nephew of Muhammad Ghazni, he invaded India to northwest for frontiers, and he reached a place called Barrage. At that point of time, Maharaj Sukhdev, some people call him Sukhdev also, he united all the 17 Rajput kings together. It was one of the largest confederation of that point of time. So Masood Ghazni had an army of 1 lakh, round about 1 lakh, and at that point of time, he did not come. Masood Ghazni did not come as a raider. That in earlier when the Muslim Islamic invasion used to take place. They were more of a raiders. You can say a tribal raiding mentality. They would come, loot, and go away. But this time, they came with the backing of the Caliphate with 1 lakh army. And idea was not only to loot India, but to subjugate it and Islamize it Islamize it perpetually. So that was the idea. And Maharaj Sukhdev understood it very well, the danger which was coming. So whole of 17 Rajput confederations were united. They came forward, and the defeat which they gave to these invaders, they crushed them, and not even uh, a single enemy was left alive. Not even prisoner of war. If you see post-independence, in many of our wars, we used to take, for example, India-Pakistan war in 1972. We had prisoner of war, and we just gave them away, and that too for nothing. And perpetually, we have been having this problem on Northwest 20 years. So, and Battle of Barrage is also very important because post Battle of Barrage, there was no Islamic invasion for 160 years. So this is a very important point to know. The Battle of Barrage happened on June 13, 1033 AD. And at that point of time, Islamic imperial forces were at the zenith of their power. We crushed them, we humiliated them. And for next 160 years, there was no Islamic invasion in India till Muhammad Ghori, the famous story of Prithviraj Chauhan, everyone knows. Muhammad Ghori came 160 years after this battle. So that is how important this battle is. But unfortunately, this battle many people might not have heard about, and even this name, but even name of Maharaj Dev or Maharaj Sukhdev is not. I think many people who would be attending right now, they might be also hearing about it for the first time. Another disturbing thing, I would say, I would not say interesting, I would say disturbing thing, and the shameful thing is, here at the place where this battle happened, that is Barrage, there is a tomb of Masood Ghazni. and every year there is a big mela sort of a thing happening there. A lot of our Hindus also go there and pay tribute to these invaders. So that is why also we should know this history. This guy was not a saint; he was just an invader. The, and even in Pratapgarh, Maharashtra, Abdul Khan, who was also one of the most cruel Subedas for the Islamic forces in Bijapur. So there is a lot of, so the whole area now it has been converted in some sort of in an holy place, and people go there. And a lot of people go there for and they are treating these invaders as peer and saints. So that is the unfortunate part. महाराज सुखदेव का समाधि कहीं नहीं मिलेगा बैरिज में, राइट? बट जो इन्वेडर्स थे उनकी वहां पे समाधि है और हमारे लोग वहां पे माथा टेकने जाते हैं. So what could be more shameful? It is something like this. If maybe 30, 40, 50 years down the line, if certain landlord party would have been in power, I think they would have made even Kasab as an martyr, and he would have been used as an mascot for the left or the communists. Anyway, that is a different story. So here again, I would like to touch upon this point: why history is important. Because a civilization which does not know, and which does not glorify its heroes, that civilization is very soon going to be doomed. So here we heard about few heroes, that is starting with Maharaj Dahir, then Bappa Rawal, and the saintly person Maharishi Deval, and after that we heard about Maharaj Sohail or Maharaj Sohail Dev. Next. So just to recap, we started with 634 after death of Muhammad Prophet, and within 8 years of Islamic imperialism, the most of the Central Asia was covered by them, from Mesopotamia to Persia, and they took almost 70 years to breach even just the northwest frontiers, that is Sindh area, and that too not without any resistance. Maharaj Dahir gave a very stiff fight to to Muhammad bin Qasim, and after that it was Bappa Rawal and Maharishi Deval who reclaimed the Bappa Rawal reclaimed the land, and Maharishi Deval reclaimed the civilizational ethos by reconverting all this people back to Hinduism. And after that, we heard about the Battle of Barrage, Maharaj Sukhdev. And again I am repeating, Battle of Barrage is very important. June 13, 1033 AD. We gave a very tough reply to the Islamic invaders, and it is to be noted that at that point of time they were at the zenith of their power. And post this Battle of Barrage, 1033 AD, June 13, there was no invasion for 160 years. So that, and after 160 years, Muhammad Ghori invaded, and Prithviraj Chauhan, everyone, and his battle with Muhammad Ghori, everyone is aware of. So I would be touching a very important point regarding the defeat of Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan could not have been defeated without any local people supporting the invaders like Muhammad Ghori. Mohammad Chishti, जिनका दरगाह पुष्कर के पास है, वहाँ पे काफी लोग जाते हैं आज भी. But many people do not know Mohammad Chishti was working and giving all the important routes and many things, because he was basically he was a spy. That needs to be understood. He was not a Sufi saint. He was just working as a spy, giving all the important trade routes and everything to the invaders. And so that needs to be understood. Why I brought this point is, if we see 2611 also, 2611 happened just a decade back. So even in 2611, we saw it was a son of a film director. I won't like to take name, he was giving all the information. He was taking around David Headley, who was an ISI double agent for CIA and ISI. And we are seeing in India also a lot of this dirty money which comes into the entertainment industry. So the point I'm trying to make is, and the point I'm trying to make is he, when the civilization is brought down, it is the insiders, the colonial powers. They every time they want a foot soldier within the country, and unfortunately, what has happened because of the wrong narrative which has been feeded over the centuries, we have many such lot coming up in India. हिंदी में कहावत है, हमको तो अपनों ने लूटा गैरों से क्या, हमको तो अपने ने लूटा गैरों में क्या दम था, अपनी कश्ती वहीं डूबी जहाँ पानी कम था। तो हमारी भी कुछ वही हाल है। जैसे हम देखते हैं कि महाराज दाहिर जब यहाँ पर आए, तो जो नॉर्थ वेस्ट फ्रंटियर सिंध एरिया में जो बुद्धिस्ट थे, they sort of they felt कि we are the followers of Vahim Sahib, and they thought कि the new regime of Muhammad bin Qasim, they will come, they will help the Buddhism to spread, but that did not happen. Muhammad bin Qasim, first thing he did is he destroyed all the Buddhist monks. He killed them. He killed all of them. And later also, if you see during the Maratha time also, the Mughals, the main strength of the Mughals were coming from the Rajputs. And even East India Company, the most of the soldiers were Indians. So post 1947, the battle domain is different, and the domain is a lot of negativity and false narrative of history is being spread. So that needs to be the true history needs to be broadcasted regularly and with lot of enthusiasm. The idea of this session is to understand the timeline of Indian history. Maybe sometime later we will cover the medieval age also. Today we started from 634 because that was the time when Islamic invasion started. And the whole theme about these sessions are ये जो ब्रेन वॉशिंग किया गया है कि हम हारते ही रहे, we have been subjugated, but that is not the fact. If you see from Maharaj Dahir to Bappa Rawal, then Maharaj Sukhdev, then even Prithviraj Chauhan, even he got defeated. He also gave a relentless fight, and no one talks about the great rise of Vijayanagar Empire. It was the Hindu Samrajya which not only kicked out the Islamic invaders, but they ruled so gloriously and prosperously for more than 300 years. And that glorious pages of Indian history have been systematically teared off by the before independence, the colonial powers, and post independence, the proxies of the colonial power. That's what I would like to say. And even after the fall of Vijayanagar Empire, many people do not know about this unsung hero, Hemchandra Vikramaditya, which we would be taking, which I would be taking in a detailed class very soon. And regarding Maratha history, we might have heard of Shivaji, but why Maratha? To know Maratha history is important because at that point of time, 1630, when Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was born, it was a very difficult time for Indic civilization, Hindu civilization. There was from north to south, everything was lost, and we were subjugated for that brief period of time. And from ashes we almost rose. And by 1707, the whole of India. By 1715, again the whole of India was controlled by Marathas. So that part of Indian history we would take later. And from 1715 till 1803, it was only Marathas who were ruling India. Mughals were just working as you can say proxies for Marathas. Many people might not have heard of this name, Maharaj Shinde. He was the main person for Marathas post Panipat. I'm sure many people might have not heard about it. Post Battle of Panipat, 1761, the Marathas were on the back foot, but he was the one who revived the Maratha supremacy back again. He was the only person who defeated the East India Company and various other and the Mughals. And Mughals were just a puppet, just working as sort of a proxy for Marathas at that point of time. And from 1715 to 1803, Marathas were ruling the whole of India. So this part of Indian history has been also systematically omitted. हमको ये पढ़ाया जाता है कि ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी टू पावर फ्रॉम मुगल्स, बट ये जो 100 साल का जो पीरियड है और इतना ग्लोरियस पीरियड है कि आफ्टर छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज, इट वाज संभाजी महाराज who fought And the glories of Sambhaji Maharaj is so great. When 1682, after death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Aurangzeb was so restless. He came with an army of 8 lakh people. He came with an army of 8 lakh people, and he came near a place called Burhanpur, in Maharashtra. And for next 27 years, such a strong Mughal empire were fighting Marathas who had a very handful of soldiers. So all these sessions we would be taking. I just spoke of the topic because I was just trying to create some interest for the future sessions. So we will be taking all these sessions very deeply very deeply, and we would be bringing a lot of unsung heroes in later sessions. So today was just a sort of an introduction and synopsis, and the time period was from just we covered 500 years. Like this 500 years is also important to understand, because if you see this 500 years, it was not like that invaders just came and they just defeated and it was a cake war. If you see, even when Muhammad bin Qasim came, Maharaj Dahir got defeated. But within 2 decades, Bappa Rawal came, Maharishi Deval came, we reclaimed back. And so it has been not a, it has, the invaders were not having a free run. So that sense of history we need to understand. And that would be the greatest Pitrurun which we can give to our ancestors. If we many civilizations, they are not even found in the news. They have been destroyed. And their fearless spirit is that we are standing, and we are moving forward to become a greatest civilization maybe in decades time. But to understand, but to take it that forward, we need to have a pride in our civilizational record and history. So that is the whole theme. So that is the whole vision behind taking these sessions. And the last session, and the second last session which we would be taking is 1857 revolution. So many people do not know 1857 revolution. India was made free by our freedom fighters for almost 3 months. India was made free, and the whole details of how this whole thing happened, how Tatya Tope recruited Indian army from East India Company, and how one of the close friends of Nana Saheb, he went to England. He got all the intel and the understanding how the British army is based in China, Crimea, and then the 1857 the whole planning was done. How logistics was being designed for 1857, and how India was made free for 3 months. So that whole session we would be taking in near future. So that is also one of my favorite topics. And so if we see the timeline of Indian history, 634, it was Maharaj Dahir, Bappa Rawal, Maharishi Deval. I am repeating because so that we remember these names. I'm being repetitive, but the idea is so that we remember these names. From 634, it was Maharaj Dahir in 7th century, then Bappa Rawal, then Battle of Barrage, 1033 AD. Then the whole so much great warriors of Maratha Empire, then 1857. And even after 1857, where we were very close in getting the independence, and it was very systematically crushed. And it pains me to see the Andaman Nicobar Island. Many people might have gone there for their visited this place. So the name of this island is Havelock and Neil, if you can Google it. And who were this Havelock and Neil? They were the same British officers who killed millions of Indian natives who Andaman Nicobar Island still has been, even though our Honorable Prime Minister changed the name to Swarajya and Shakif and Subhash Chandra Bose, still we call it Havelock. And who were this Havelock who killed so many of our natives in 1857? So that is the colonial hangover which we are having. So I just gave a synopsis from 634 till 1856. The conclusion I want to bring here is there has been a relentless war which our ancestors have been fighting. First it was Rajputs, from Rajputs, then it was Great Vijayanagar Empire, and from there it was Marathas, and from 1857 we see Vasudev Balwant Phadke and many such freedom fighters who came post 1880s. From the period of 1711 till 12th century, Battle of Barrage, there have been relentless war which Rajputs fought against the invaders, and it was not a free run for the invaders. So that is the whole thing. And in future, we will next topic is on Vijayanagar Empire. And today being the first topic, I just go more on the synopsis of the future topics also. And I would like to conclude it with very important observation. Like if we see the first map which we shared in the PPT, the invaders always came from the northwest frontiers, and the northwest frontier is sort of an access to whole of India. And what we are seeing is very historical thing happening in past few months, that we have got rid of these Islamic powers which were creating trouble in Kashmir because of abrogation of Article 370. So what will happen is because of more control over the northwest frontiers by Indian government and getting rid of this jihadi element. So India's access to Central Asian trade routes will increase eventually, and that is how we will become, and that is, and anyone who controls the trade routes of Central Asia, eventually they have more power in the world. So that is why if we see in the 18th century, there was always been tussle between Russia and US regarding this Central Asia. And the very purpose of creating this Pakistan and Kashmir issue by the colonial power, so that Indians access to this trade route does not, India does not get access to this trade route. So that is the point I would like to touch. And with that, I would like to conclude, and the whole vision for today's presentation. The idea was to just give the future themes in the synopsis of the future session, and the basic underlining principle take home message is 500 years from 634 to 11th century, there was been relentless war and Battle of Berry. So, 160 years, there was no Islamic invasion in India. So, with that, I think I'm interactive for our session, and it would be great if I would have some interesting questions. For the 500 years, or even I am okay for taking few questions in general regarding 500 timeline also.
Okay, yeah, sir. So I want everyone to look at their screens. Like we at Bhavyata Foundation, currently we are having a plant a caretaker campaign going on where we are actually planting trees in the Vikramgarh and Wada district. So we have partnered with Kesav Srishti Gram Vikas Yojana to plant 1200 mango saplings and 2500 bamboo saplings in the Wada and Vikramgarh block of Palghar district through community as stakeholders. So we have identified a total of 140 tribal families in this region who desperately need your help. So a wisely and timely donation can take this campaign to a livelihood revolution. So also if you want to contribute or donate anything to this campaign or for a better tomorrow for humankind, you can log on to our website, that is www.bhavyata.com. And also for more details about the history sessions and all, you can keep checking our websites. And if you like the session, you can also go to Bhavyata Foundation on Google page and post a review about this as well over there.
All detailed historical heroics of our ancestors, and that is how my whole passion regarding this thing is. This is the way I would like to present my gratefulness to all our Pitrus and ancestors for the sacrifice. They have soaked this blood of they have sacrificed their blood for keeping the soil, the the independence of the soil from the Semitic invaders. So we need to be grateful to them, and I would like to conclude with that. Thank you very much, and
Thank you so much, sir.
and thanks, Bima, for your kind support, and thank you to all the team of Bhavyata Foundation, and thank to the wonderful audience. Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much, Sandeep, sir, for such a great session. Actually, I'm sure that our viewers would have loved it. And also, I thank all our viewers for such an overwhelming response and for having so much patience. And so, stay tuned, everyone, and have a good weekend. Thank you so much.